Hey guys, good morning. Today I wanted to bring you along for a bunch of spring projects that I'm working on. First and foremost, I know you guys want to see some videos on seed starting, so I'm going to share with you the process. Today we're going to start some sweet peas, and also we're going to update, really completely overhaul my spice cabinet. So we partnered today with Cricut, and I'm going to do another fun project with them. I wanted to show you guys kind of like the before, like what we're working with here. It looks like everybody's spice cabinet, but it's driving me crazy. Like, we've just got, little bits of random stuff, like things I don't even know how I got this. Celery seed, I don't ever use it, but it's taking up space. I always have a hard time finding what I need when I'm looking through there. We've also got some other jars that are like, it was from something else, and now the label is like coming off. Not good. So I went on Amazon, like I do, and I found some really cute ones. These have like a beautiful wood top, and then they're glass, which I like, and they're a lot wider than the other ones. So I feel like I'm going to be able to put a lot more spices in each jar. I've got 16 of them here, if I counted right, and I wanted to do like a really nice like hand lettering or like handwritten label. So like picture basil or oregano or something like that. And I want to put, especially for the herbs that like I've actually grown them and dried them myself, or our family has, I want to be able to have them in a cute custom jar. I just thought that would be so nice. And I love the size on these. It's so much wider than like a typical jar. And I like to be able to like reach in, grab the spice, season your things. It's just more of like it just feels like a better cooking process when you can like use your hands, pinch, feel, crunch, rather than just like sprinkling it on and it's going through plastic. And I think this is gonna be really cool. So I'm excited about it. And I do like it's gonna help me minimize the spices. Like I'm gonna have to get rid of some to be able to, condense down to 16. And like, why would I need more than 16 spices? I mean, like, it's gonna be a lot of jars, so we're gonna be just fine. So I'm really excited about that. Also, my eucalyptus that I started from seed is doing so well, and I have some really good, like, now that I've grown it and I've done some trialing and erroring and testing, I want to show you guys like how you can do it too. And like, he's getting big. Like, I'm really excited to show him to you. So let's go downstairs. I've got to grab the white vinyl that I'm going to use for this project. And then I wanted to show you a little bit of what's been growing, what I've got going on down there. So let's hop downstairs to the seed room. I really find that I pretty much live in my muck boots. These are great like in the winter. And yep. This is my life now. And we have like, at least there's a pathway worn in. And a lot of the snow is melting. Just ready for it to be gone. Hi, Pootie. Hi. This is my mom's cat. She lives with us. She's an outside cat. But she lives here with us now. She was actually a stray. They kind of just inherited my parents. And now she's inherited us. She's so sweet, though. So I'm pretty sure the last time I brought you guys down here to my chaotic grow room space, we just had the one rack, but the crazy flower obsessed girl that I am, now we have two. And I've got so much growing. We're just going full in to flower farming, and I'm so excited about it. I just went ahead and I grabbed my eucalyptus baby, and here he is in all his beauty. Isn't that awesome? Like, you can actually see like down here, can you see the stalk, like the central stalk is kind of getting kind of big. And like, we've got all these little side shoots because when this guy was like about this tall, I went ahead and I just cut that like central growing stem. And what that does is it causes the plant to send out side shoots. So it gives you a lot more like branches that you can cut from. Actually, I can see it here. So I actually let it get up to about here. Might have grown a little bit since then, up to about here, and then I snipped it, and then just look at that, just like confetti. Also, I did an experiment because in the early stages of growing eucalyptus, I was afraid that transplanting this little guy early was gonna make, I don't know, I thought it was gonna die or something. So I left all of my other eucalyptus in my cell tray, the ones that have like all of the little cells in it. There's like 55 or something in the eucalyptus ones. So this one I took out and put in this pot early. And then these, the rest of them, I left in there. And look how much bigger this guy has grown. Like I planted these, I wanna say in December, and look at the difference. I wanna say this one's probably been in this bigger pot for about 4 weeks. And then this little guy got potted up maybe a week ago. Yeah, so from now on, I'm gonna be potting them up faster and then pinching them because it really does make a big difference. And I think this is gonna do great. Like by the time I can actually plant out here, it's gonna be probably the end of May. We'll have to see how the weather goes. But this plant is gonna be so sturdy and so big and so ready to be planted out. And if I need to, I can up pot him into like one of those bigger gallon-sized ones if I need to. The eucalyptus is worth it. Also, I wanted to show you guys my oregano. So I've got a couple plants. Actually, I've got probably 10 plants that are about like this. And these are gonna be sold at the farmer's market, just a really well-established oregano plant. And then I also grabbed, I'll show you guys the racks too, but I also grabbed, these are my sweet peas. So Florette did their sale, I think it was in February, I wanna say, or January. And I went ahead and just hopped on with some of her sweet peas. The only thing I will say, literally, the only negative thing is there's just not enough seeds in a packet. Like I should have gotten more. They are pricey, like compared to what I can do with sort of like wholesale seeds. These are more pricey, but the quality of the seed, I mean, these guys are doing great. Like germination seems to be really great. They're very hardy plants. And I know that she's taken the time to find like the best of the best plants to grow. And that's the only seed that she sells. Let me just show you one quick thing and then we'll get started on our spice jars. And then these are the lettuce that I've grown. I'm so into growing plants right now. I would love to create for you guys like a how to grow lettuce or like how to grow tomato plants or like how to garden, like my Instant Pot 101 or maybe like my cloth diapering 101. I would love to put together like sort of a collection of videos for you guys that's very, very informational, just packed full so that you can successfully do your own, you know, backyard garden. Maybe not as big a scale as I'm doing here, but I think it would be fun. I would have so much fun producing that. So, okay, let me grab the vinyl and then we'll head upstairs and get going on my poor spice cabinet. All right, so I've got my computer here. Actually, last time I did a project, a Cricut project, I was using my Cricut Joy, which is like the little sister to the Cricut Maker. I made so much with this thing. I learned, like I made even our entire huge banner for our farmer's market stand with this little portable cutter machine. This thing is amazing. And the thing is they're contagious because I made so much with it. And then when I saw the Maker, this thing, not only is she beautiful, but this can cut wood, felt, fabric. It has a much wider, you can kind of see the size different. It has a much wider cutting field. And I want to make even bigger of a banner. So I upgraded fairly quickly after getting the Joy, but honestly, this thing is so worth it. Like so cool. So all we need to do is plug her in and then you can connect via Bluetooth or there's a direct cord too to your computer. Now for this particular project, there's only 2 like single time use items that you're gonna need to do these labels. You're gonna need a vinyl. So I went with the premium vinyl just in the glossy white, and you need some transfer tape. This is what you use to pick up your design after you've got it all cut and weeded, which I'll show you. The transfer tape is what you use to kind of like stick it up and put it onto the jars. So those are the only 2 things that you really need that you'll use just for this project. And then as far as like reusable tools that I would say are essentials, I really like their cutters. This is the portable trimmer. It's really nice because it's got measurements all over the place and it does a really good cut. And you could also use scissors too if you'd like. Then you're gonna need a weeder and a scraper. These are absolutely essential. You need a weeder to pull out the little itty bitty pieces. And then the scraper is nice if you're trying to get something off the mat and just kind of pick up the edge. Works really well. And then obviously you need your Cricut machine, and then you're gonna need a mat. And this is what you'll stick your vinyl to so that it can cut it and it stays put while it's doing its cut. So I don't have a set like project that I'm using from the Cricut Design Space app. I like to just kind of make my own. So let me show you how I do it. All right, so now I'm in the Cricut design space. This is basically your blank canvas where you can type out everything you want, make the custom design that you're looking for. And this is where I created the first label. So I've already got it labeled here, salt. So I'm not gonna duplicate this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this here, and let's start out with pepper, because we know salt, pepper, you know. And then let's say garlic. And you can see here, you have a wide array of fonts to choose from. A lot of these are just like Cricut fonts that they have stock in the design studio, but you can also purchase additional fonts as well. Or if you have different ones like in your computer system already, you can use those too. So I'm gonna go through here and I'm just gonna keep typing all of the spices that I wanna have, ones that I use, ones that I can think of. I'm not even gonna bother going over to the spice cabinet and looking at all these like crazy abstract spices, because I really wanna narrow it down to the ones I use. So I'm just gonna get to typing, and then I'll give you some insight into sort of how I arrange them in just a bit here. So I've got all of the spices labeled, and this is such a cool thing to me, the fact that I can customize these, because something like Old Bay seasoning, you don't typically find that like if you were to buy your own labels. Also, you don't typically find like bay leaves listed as just leaves. And I really think that's funny, like to just open your cabinet and like, oh, what's this? Leaves. Like they look like just leaves. So I thought that'd be kind of funny, kind of cool. So I've got everything typed out here how I want it. All you have to do really is make sure that you're doing a cut, like make sure that each of these is doing a cut operation versus drawing, because your Cricut machine can also just like draw with a pen. So make sure that you've got it on the cut, make sure that it's the size that you'd prefer. So we're gonna click Make It. And then this is gonna sort your projects into mats by color. And if you have like a multi-layered design, here it's coming out, it's gonna be just under 7 inches. So we're gonna go ahead and just take our vinyl and we're gonna cut so that we've got enough to put onto our mat. Give it a quick trim. And then we're gonna line this up with the top of our mat. There you go. Use the scraper here just to make sure there's no bubbles. And then we'll load this into our Cricut machine. So to load it, we're just gonna press this flashing light here. And then on the computer, we're gonna click Continue. It's gonna make sure that we're connected to our Cricut Maker, to this specific Cricut device. We'll choose vinyl, make sure that we have the proper blade in here. We're gonna go with the fine point blade. I'm actually gonna go with more pressure here because, I don't know, this is thicker vinyl with the permanent and I've been using my blade gun quite a bit. So then we're gonna go ahead and just press this other flashing light. We're ready to go, and it's gonna go ahead and make all our cuts and cut all the labels for us. Go have a cup of tea. Okay, the machine just finished up. We're gonna unload it. Thank you very much, Cricut. So we're all done with the machine. And I grabbed our containers. So we've got all the unlabeled ones, and I also grabbed a cupcake. And I wanted to show you guys because I'm so proud of it. So my mom and I have been making cupcakes. We've been perfecting these recipes and the flavors, and we've been selling them here at the local farmers market. And they've been a hit, and we've come out with so many flavors. I'm just super proud of them. Like, they are delicious. This one's the amaretto. It's an almond cake with a slight, like, sweet almond frosting. And then it's filled with the most amazing amaretto white chocolate cream. It's like the inside of a chocolate truffle. Delicious. Okay. I'm not gonna eat the whole thing yet. So what we're gonna do is we wanna grab the weeder and you're gonna peel away the excess fabric and you're gonna leave behind the letters that your machine has cut, like in the vinyl. So I just kind of grab it. Since this is kind of like a fine, I always choose a really, really skinny font, but because it's a skinny font, you wanna make sure that you're looking close and you don't accidentally like, you know, tear some of the letters that you're supposed to be carefully, you know, getting out. It's called a weeder because you're just kind of like pulling out the stuff that you don't want and you leave behind the pieces that you do want. And then we're also going to use our transfer tape. And this is what I'll go ahead and just, I'll cut a strip here. So we're going to need it. And then, so this first one here leaves just about that big. And then we're going to just put our transfer tape over the top, pull it up, and we'll put it straight onto the labels. Let me show you guys a little closer. So I just used the edge of the weeder here to pick up the vinyl off of the backing. And then we're just gonna make sure that we're leaving these letters that we just cut out still attached. All right, so I know it's hard to see, but what I'm doing basically is using the weeder to pick up the fabric or the vinyl and to pull it away from these letters. Now, if you are new to the Cricut or you're new to weeding, I would highly, highly recommend choosing a design or, you know, choosing lettering that's thicker because it is pretty, you know, it can be pretty difficult when you have some of these teeny tiny little letters and legs and in little bits to see them, especially with the white, like the contrast. It can be hard to kind of to pull them out, but I really love the white and I really love the little skinny fonts. So I do it, but you can see here too, like for this A, I sort of just pick up and it'll grab those and kind of get them out of your way there. So once we've got the entire word out there, then we're just gonna go ahead and take the weeder again, and we're gonna pull out like the center of that A there. And then let's take our transfer tape. I did wanna show you guys how this works. So we're just gonna separate the transfer tape from the backing. You can kind of see it's got a grid pattern here, which is really helpful actually for lining it up. And then you can line that up on the bottom of your word there. Use the scraper tool over the top a few times, and then you can just peel this right up. And we'll put it onto our jar. So I've got our jar and we've got our label here. Just got to figure out the placement that I want. Go ahead and stick it on. And then pull off your transfer tape. And there you go. See how easy that is? And then this is going to be permanent. I would give it a couple days, you know, before you're trying to like, you know, with heavy usage or anything, but that's done. So I'm just going to repeat this for each of our labels and I'll show you the final project. These seriously turned out so good. I couldn't be more happy with how they turned out. Just typed it out, cut it, weeded it out, and put them on the jars. And I love them. And I love that I've got like my steak seasoning, salad seasoning, my leaves for the bay leaves, but they're empty. So I need to go, let's go over to our ugly spice cabinet. And then we're gonna take everything out. I'll give it a good clean. I'm gonna fill these up and then I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like all done. Oh, and I have a cute shelf too. I think I might put like some of my, like the common spices that I use all the time, like salt, stuff I wanna have on the counter. And I'm gonna put that on a cute little shelf. You'll see, it's gonna be really cute. So I've got all of my old spices everywhere. It's amazing how many duplicates I'm actually finding. So it's gonna be nice to condense those down and also kind of see what we need to get a little bit more of and what I definitely need to grow more of this year. So look at that whole big container, plus this one. We'll see if we find any more. That's basil. And I've enlisted a couple kids over here to help if you guys want to find the matching containers. Okay. Or even like this, the cinnamon. These come in giant containers if you get them at Costco. But like, I don't need this giant container to bump around with all the other spices that I'm using on a daily basis. So if I can have this much cinnamon, you know, when I'm baking and when I need it available, and then put the rest of this kind of in the pantry in a bin, that is my preferred method. So this is going to be great. Even the ones that won't completely fit into the new jars, totally fine by me. Oh, and I found this really cute shelf at, where was it? Not Costco. Oh, at IKEA. I've had it for a while, probably, I want to say like 6 months to a year now, and I never knew what to do with it. I got it kind of for a party, and then, you know, quarantine hit, so we never used it. So over here on the countertop, we've got the little rack with salt, garlic, and pepper. Those are like my most common spices. And then oregano, chilies, and steak seasoning. This is pretty much where we would have like coffee and toast in the morning. If I am seasoning steaks, it's kind of like over there, like here, and then over to the sink. So I thought this is a really good like central spot for that. And I think it looks really cute just on the counter. And then up above, we've got our spices. Now this looks so bare. I think I'm actually going to need to order a few more because I forgot. I didn't get parsley. I didn't do one for dill. And then, I forget the other one, but there's 3 spots that are left. And I think I just want to keep it that way, like really minimal on the spices. And then we have our canned goods, which I probably should organize a little bit better. But we got canned goods up there. But I love how they turned out. So cute. I need to definitely restock some of these. Basil, I actually probably could harvest some basil that I've been growing indoors. But this year we're gonna be able to fill those up because I'm planting so much of it. I just love how that turned out. And it's just, you know, it feels lighter. I just feel like we've cleaned out a lot of the clutter and the mess, and it's good. Perfect for spring. And this little Cricut machine, like it's customized a room in every single part of my house, which, I mean, I like it. I really do. Now I'm gonna go ahead and wash these containers. I've got quite a few containers that are empty now, and these I can all recycle. So I'm gonna clean those out, and then I wanna get to some seed starting because it's the time to do it. And I am selling some seed at the farmer's market, some starts, and then I'm also growing some for here. So I want to show you 2 methods, kind of give you some of the basics. One method is what I like to call like the busy mom's method. And then the other one is just more of a conventional, like using cell trays and that sort of thing. So let me go ahead and clean these, and I'll go get the seeds, some soil, and we'll get started. All right, guys. Let's do some seed starting. So I grabbed our seeds. These are some snap peas, like sugar snap peas. Always love to have these in the garden. And the key to these is planting them early so they can get some more cooler weather before you're planting like your tomato plants and your eggplants and your peppers and all of that stuff out. You can plant snap peas. If you start them indoors, you can start them a lot earlier. They could tolerate a lot more cold than sort of like your warm season annuals. So snap peas are not only delicious, like every time you go out there, you have something fresh that you can snack on, not to be confused with sweet peas, which are not edible. They're poisonous. They're like the flowering varieties. Snap peas are actually something that you can eat. They're for eating. So I grabbed these. That's what we're going to be planting today. And the first method that I wanted to share with you is what you've probably heard of, like what you've probably done if you've ever started seeds at home. I've got a base tray here, so there's no holes in the bottom, but then over the top, we've got trays with cells. So these are actually, since I'm gonna be selling these at the farmer's market, these are actually some 6-packs that I got actually on Amazon. So I'll link the things that I can, like where I get my seeds, my favorite places, these, all of that stuff. I'll link them down below. But I like these because you're able to get 6 plants to somebody, and they're small enough so that you're not having too much to put under the grow lights, but it's enough that you're able to like really give some value. Once these have grown up, they're gonna be, you know, pretty big. These are probably about, I wanna say 4 weeks old, and they are thick, they're sturdy, they're hardy. So these are gonna be beautiful in somebody's yard. So when I plant these, something important with snap peas is that they love fertile soil. So when you actually plant your plants out, they want to have some good like compost or manure. They feed on that. They love the nitrogen. When you're planting them though, you want to go with something, you want to go with a seed starting medium. So what I usually do is I'll take my seed starting mix. If you don't know the difference between like potting soil and seed starting mix, it's really just, this is a finer material and it doesn't have any like actively composting or materials that would be like kind of molding or manure. This is like peat moss, perlite, vermiculite, very fine particles so that seeds can start easier in them. And it's a lot less apt to get sort of moldy in an indoor growing area. If you use potting soil, probably not going to be the best. Use potting soil on your plants that you're potting up or like potting outside. So this is a seed starting mix. And this is a big tip here, I always pre-moisten it. So you don't want to be putting like dry potting mix into your trays, then planting all your seeds and then topping them with the soil and then watering it. The big reason is you're going to move all those seeds around. It's not such a big deal with peas. Like peas are, you know, they would probably be okay. But most anything else, like a lot of flowers and things like that, they are just going to get swept away and they're going to get moved and they're going to hate it. So it's much better to get the soil, you know, wet. Not like when you wring it out and all the water is going to come out, but just, you know, moist. Like make sure that it has enough moisture in it that they can have water and they can start to perk up from being these dry little seeds, but not so much so that they're going to be like molding and overly wet. You want them to have access to water, but not be drowning. That's how I'd put it. So what you're going to do with the peas is we're just making, now I don't have these filled up all the way. I've kind of got the trays a little bit empty, but with enough room that I can just pop a pea in. I like to do just one in each cell. It's easy enough when the peas are maturing, even though they don't like their roots disturbed too much. It's easy enough if you have a tray that has a hole in it. I can just move one, like I can sacrifice one tray and fill in any gaps if they didn't germinate. But honestly, peas seem to do pretty good. So I'm just popping one in each. And some seeds, they like to be just on the surface of the soil. That was really new to me when I started growing flowers. I didn't realize that, I mean, it makes sense in nature when a plant drops its seed, it just kind of sits on top of the soil and then it's going to grow from there. But I was always taught, like, you have to bury your seeds. Like, you got to plant them, you know, dig a hole X amount of, you know, point whatever inches deep. But it's not the case with every seed. So the peas, I do them probably half an inch down. And you can kind of measure that. Look at the size of the seed. And then you want to make their hole about the size of what they are. So that way they have good soil contact. They can stay, they won't dry out, but then they're not going to be so covered that they'll never germinate. So I'm just popping these peas in here. And then what I like to do, if you wanted to, you could take more soil and like put it over the top. I just like to tuck them in. I just kind of do a little tuck and it covers them up. You get about half of an inch. I know that they're down there. If I'm doing this outside, you know, you could probably with the peas get away with just watering them after the fact. But I like to do the moistened potting soil, especially with things like snapdragons or poppy seeds. If you tried to water those and actually get the whole, you know, all the way from the top to the bottom wet, it would not work. You just wash away all your seeds and you'd be like, why aren't they growing? Now I wanted to show you guys sort of the progression. Let's take maybe this tray, the progression of planting. So, you know, this is a tray that this is a 6-pack that I just planted. They're just fresh in there. This is a tray that's been in here I want to say about a week. So we've got just a tiny, tiny little bit of growth. You can see these poking up and through the bottom. No roots quite yet. Some of these in here probably will have roots poking through. Yeah, we've got like a root right here, if you can see that, just poking out the bottom. Peas, if you can give it to them, they like really deep cell trays. Like they would love to go way deep just when they're starting. And then, like I mentioned, this is about probably 4 weeks of growth. So that's peas. Now, I mentioned that I have sort of my, I like to call it a busy mom way of planting. Now, when I'm planting lettuce, so I've got some lettuce here. These were planted, these guys are probably about 5 weeks old. These are some Salanova lettuce seed. It's a mix. You've got some, the green lettuce. I showed you guys these earlier, didn't I? So these guys, how I sowed them is I literally opened the packet of seed. I had this pot here. You can literally use any container you have, just so long as it has drainage holes in the bottom. It could be from yogurt or whatever. Put your seed starting mix in there, pre-moisten, and just sprinkle your seeds in, like just sprinkle them. And that's what I did with these lettuce seeds about a week ago. So in that week time, that week span, these seeds are waking up. I have them on a grow mat. It's just a little, like imagine a heating pad that's waterproof. I'll put an example of one down below. I get mine on Amazon, and you can start with a smaller one, or that's just the size of this sort of a tray, or you can do one that's even double wide. I use both. But I have this sitting on a heat mat, and I have one of these little domes on it. I'm sure you guys have seen these. So I've got it underneath the dome on the heat mat, and I have my grow lights above it. So anytime I'm starting seeds, unless it's a seed like pansies, they don't like light to germinate. Anytime I'm starting seeds, this is how I do it. They're on a heat mat, they've got the humidity dome, and then we've got the lights over. I use an LED style. It's about 6,000 lumens, and the ones I use are really affordable, also from Amazon. I have bought the more expensive ones in the past, but honestly, for just germinating seeds, not like flowering, like the entire flowering process of a plant, these work just fine. And the output, as far as an LED, they're very low on energy usage. So I love the ones I have. I ended up buying, I think I have 8 shelves worth of them now. So I really like the ones I got. Anyway, so these sit there. And so after about a week, you've got all of these little seeds popping up. I let them go for another week. Now, after they've all germinated and everybody's, greened up and we're out of the seeds, I take this humidity dome off because they don't really need that anymore. And then I'll start misting them. So every day I'll kind of just pop into the grow room, and I like to give new seedlings just a good, like a spritz, just to make sure that everybody's coming out of their little seed casings okay. The soil's not getting too dry. Some seeds, they don't all germinate at the same time. You might have one that takes 10 days, and then most of the others only take 4. That's just how nature works. That way, if a rabbit came by and ate all the seeds, and they ate all the germinated seeds, there would still be some that would make it. So I mist them probably about every other day. Well, the new seedlings about every day, and then once they get older, every few days. I would let these guys just sit for another week. They're uncovered, and they'll get bigger. They'll start to get pretty crowded. And then that's when I go ahead and I put them into these individual 6-cell trays. Or if I'm going to be raising these to grow in my own garden, rather than the 6 packs that come apart, I have some more sturdy trays. They've got 55 or 72 cells in them. Or even more. Some are really tiny, and they work for other things too. But I'll just take my pencil, and I'll just pop one out. Let's see. These are still pretty itty bitty, but this little guy here, he's just a teeny tiny little guy. He doesn't mind being just pulled out gently. I try to dig underneath and put into a cell. By waiting the 2 weeks, not only am I able to start a lot of seeds at once, it doesn't take up very much room under my lights, but also it allows me to know which seeds are going to germinate. If I were to do that with lettuce seeds, for one, they're microscopic. You can't see what you're planting. So you have to see these tiny little seeds and I found out very quickly that is not the way to go for me. I need to just, you know, I need to have something bigger to pick and set. Also, it takes too much time. Like, I'm a busy mom. That's why I call this the busy mom method. So if I'm actually going to put them in their trays, we know what's germinated, they're a couple weeks old, they need some space of their own, then I take them out one by one and put them in there. You can pick the ones that are big, the ones that are healthy and they're doing great, put them in your trays, and then these will go, you know, under the lights. I didn't mention it, but when I take off the humidity dome, when everybody's germinated and everybody's out of their seeds, I also take them off the heating pad. So after about a week or once everyone's germinated, then they come off the heating pad. So they're just open to the air, they're under the light, and they'll stay under the lights until I'm hardening them off. So until they've grown up, and about a week or two before I'd actually plant them in the ground, that's when I would start taking them outside like these guys. And I just put these under cover. They're in a little sort of a low tunnel. So it's got a little bit of plastic over the top. It shields them from the snow that's happening outside where I'm at. And yeah, they get used to the sunlight just a little bit at a time, a couple hours a day, until now these guys are just outside and they don't mind it. So this is how I start seeds. If you guys want to see a little bit more in depth or specific, like a specific video on a specific type, or you want to just see shorter videos, how do you start tomato seeds? You want to see the full process? Let me know, you guys. The best way to get a hold of me is over on Instagram. Just send me a direct message. I'm always, every day, I'm over there checking it. I definitely talk to you guys over there through direct message more than I even post on Instagram anymore. So if you guys like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see kind of what we have going on the homestead, on our little family farm, and what's going on with the farmers market, make sure you follow us on the new farm page. It's Mountain View Family Farm. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. I'm just gonna keep going and planting my snap peas here because I didn't finish this. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.